All right, y'all. Welcome to Riffin with Griffin. Shout out to Detective Design and Dopapod who made these dope themes for me. Thought I'd pull this oldie but goodie out. This is another one that they made. So, as you know, welcome to your favorite podcast. Double I, double I. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin, Riffin. All right, today, everybody, we're going to be talking about the big news. Of course, Elon buys Twitter, and what does it mean? NBA playoffs, you know, I love that. I want to get into KD and Kyrie getting swept. I've been talking about this forever. And, of course, I finally started watching the Winning Time show on HBO, so we're going to talk about that, too. But welcome. Whoa, whoa, funky. Woo! If you like funk music, you got to check out Dopapod. They're just a dope funk band. Play that funky music, white boy. All right. Anyways. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, y'all. We are live and in full effect. I got a poll up. How important is Twitter for gathering information? You know, is it very important to you? Do you get a lot of information from Twitter? Is that your go-to source for news and information? Or like, you know, you want to find out what a candidate thinks in a thing, or you want to like find out if a show is great or not? Do you go to Twitter? You know, how do you get your information? Is Twitter your source? Is it very important? Is it somewhat important? You know, or it's like, it's sort of important. Or is it like, you know, you skim through it, but it's like whatever. You don't really care. Or you never use it because it just sucks to you. I saw an article about that, like, actually, there's that women don't like using Twitter just because of the trolling and the whatever. So I don't know if there's any ladies in here right now. Do you use Twitter? Like, how important is Twitter to you? Let me know. You know what I mean? Like, say, hey, in the comments, in the chats. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. So thank you as always for watching Riffin with Griffin. Please subscribe and share. I got some big changes coming to Riffin with Griffin. I don't know, man. I don't know. I got to do more. You know, so I still got my Patreon, so make sure you guys check that out too if you're interested in you know, getting more content. How I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to go live on Twitch, just chat, subscriber chat only, do my episode there, and then if you're a subscriber already on Twitch, then you get to watch it there, or you get to watch it on Patreon, or you get to watch it as a YouTube member. Those three sources I have for extra content. So more of that is coming, I promise. I know I've been like behind, but you know, I'm doing this by myself. I'm actually gonna get a real producer, like a producer. I know it's like a long time coming, right, guys? I know you guys get on me about that, but I'm gonna do it. You know, I love Wiggy. Wiggy wasn't necessarily gonna be a producer. He was just there to help me out, and he's become like a dear friend of mine. So shout out to Wiggy, and I will have him come back around and do some stuff. But you know, it was always a trial just to see what it was, and I just realized Wiggy and I are too much alike in terms of like, you know, so artisty and like, you know, we're both kind of flaky. That's so I need a taskmaster producer who's like, Eric, I need this, and this, and we got to do it now. I need that. Him and I are too much alike. We end up going to dinner, hanging out, or even when we're doing the podcast, we end up just like, we're just yip yapping and talking and stuff. So it's like, I need more of like somebody who is like boom, 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 boom for the stuff. So, and even if you're out there and you're interested, because, you know, I need like, you know, even all these people that hit me up like, I want to be your intern, I want to do this. It's like, it'll be like a paid intern as I grow, but it's got to be consistent. I can't have somebody dip in and dip out. I need somebody consistent. So I'm working on that as I'm talking to a bunch of my good buddies that are like deep into this, you know? So, you know, this was at first like a hobby and something fun to do, and then the pandemic, and it was like, hey, you know, you do a podcast because all the comics are doing podcasts. But I actually really love this. I love the community. I love coming on live and doing it like this. But, you know, I could do more. I could do more, and I'm challenging myself to do more, so look out for that. So make sure you, subscribe, share, like, and also, as always, I'm on Twitch, too. I Twitch every day. As I was saying, if you go to Erik Griffin Gaming, I Twitch. If you like watching, gameplay, I do that a lot, And quick, I got something to, if you're in the Cleveland area, check this out. Funny, and I'm also bringing, guess who? Oh, man. Mr. Rick Glassman is coming with me from Take. I don't know why that went like that. See, this is what I'm talking about needing a producer. It wasn't supposed to be like, it's supposed to start from the beginning. Get shoes off. It's going to be me and Rick bringing the funny. So who knows what's going to happen. But make sure you get there April 28th to the 30th and check out the tickets on erikgriffin.com. Okay, well, that was supposed to be a good commercial. So here it is again. Just bear with me, everybody that's watching. What's up, everybody? This is Erik Griffin. And guess what? I'm coming to Cleveland. So Cleveland, get yourself ready. I'm going to be at Hilarities April 28th to the 30th, bringing the funny. And I'm also bringing, guess who? Mr. Rick Glassman is coming with me from Take His Shoes Off. It's going to be me and Rick bringing the funny. So who knows what's going to happen. But make sure you get there April 28th to the 30th and check out the tickets on erikgriffin.com. Okay. Like that could have been smoother, right? You know what I mean? Oh, shut up in the chat. You're just haters, man. You know what? You're getting a timeout. If you're listening live on if you listen not even live, Apple and all that stuff, thank you for listening to the podcast. But I'm doing it live, and sometimes people are just a-holes. So I got to, give them timeouts. I need more moderators in my chat. But anyways, welcome to Riffin with Griffin. Let's get to it. As I say, I'll be in, Cleveland this coming weekend. So anyways, what happened this week? Nothing major happened this week for me. I like to talk about me a little bit. The wedding's coming up, guys. My wedding's coming up in June. So how do I feel? I'm excited, I'm a little nervous and anxious, but the people that are married, I guess you have these kinds of feelings, right? But I'm actually pretty excited. I've turned into a groomzilla. More people are coming to the wedding than we had actually planned, so that's going to cost me a grip. But it's like, I planned that this is the only time I'm ever going to do this, and so it's exciting. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm I don't know. I have so many different emotions and feelings, but I'm ready for it, And then it's now I'm just thinking about, now I'm nervous about what am I going to say? And what are people going to say? I don't know. It's there's so many things to think about. And when you're doing something like this, there's a lot of pressure and all this kind of stuff. So, I think Rachel and I are both feeling a little anxiety, but it's still very much gung-ho and excited about it. So that's coming on. So we got that. So, but anyways, let's just get to it. Oh, you know what? I wasn't even supposed to have this background up this whole time. I like to put it in later. Damn it. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm all messed up today, but whatever. It doesn't matter. So let's talk about it. The big news is Elon Musk finally bought Twitter. How do you feel about it? I got this poll up right now. Is it, and if you just want to write a comment later, how important is Twitter to you? You get all your information from it? I don't know. But anyway, so there's all this talk, there's all this big talk about what does this mean? And Elon Musk has put out a lot of information saying about a lot of quotes, a lot of statements, about he wants to be an advocate for free speech. He wants this to be the place where you could go on and say anything and do anything for, free speech purposes. And, how do I feel about that? I mean, I kind of felt like the thing was like that already. And then you have these Fox News sort of people who were Elon Musk is going to be able to control the information. He's going to turn down the algorithm for, certain candidates and all this kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, weren't they sort of doing that anyway? Or they could have been doing that anyway? So the first thing I want to talk about is people are making this big deal about this guy owning it, right? But who owns it already? Who owned Twitter? Who was in charge? Who was making choices? Who was the person that made the choice that Trump, for instance, had to be taken off Twitter? Who makes the choices for their policies about hate speech and who they're taking it off? how come nobody was concerned about who owned Twitter before that? So like I actually went to I had to I said, let me go to the internet and look. I said, who owned Twitter before? This is from Yahoo. So, it was like, so he bought it for $55 a share. I don't know. Wait, I thought this article told me who owned Twitter before him. Let's see. I don't know. Apparently it was owned by individual investors. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey among the top shareholders. Like banks, it's like in addition of Vanguard institutional investors included Morgan Stanley, investment management, BlackRock fund investors. Anyway, my point is, who are these people? Who are these people that own Twitter? And why were we never concerned about what their agenda was up until this point? And maybe you were. Maybe you're one of these people that was like, I was always concerned about what was going on with Twitter. But I'm sitting here now and people are so concerned about Elon Musk owning Twitter. And I'm like, well, at least now we have accountability. At least now the buck stops with one guy. So if you don't like whatever's happening with Twitter, we know who owns it now. We know hey, he made the choice. He's in charge. And then you can decide, you know what? I don't want to be on Twitter. See, right now, I think it's better that we know everything. Transparency. Because up to this point right now, who makes these policies at Twitter? Who's in charge of the day-to-day? We have no idea. At least now there's a face. So, if you feel hey, this is too left-leaning, it's too right-leaning, it's too... there's too much hate speech. There's too much whatever. At least now we could be like, yo, we can actually tweet at the guy. Hey, man, what the hell is going on with Twitter? I don't like this. Even if there's organizations that feel like, hey, we don't like what's going on. We don't like that Twitter represents this. They at least know where the buck stops. I think that's great. I mean, we didn't know social media was going to be this sort of juggernaut of influence. It's a hugely influential thing. So now we have this guy who's influenced the world in a way that is unquantifiable almost, he's single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, but he's largely responsible for what's happening with electric cars, just what he did for his company. The SpaceX program, just so many different things that this guy's just a brilliant guy. And he's so accessible. I love that he tweets. I love that he is out there. He's not this sort of billionaire recluse that you don't know anything about. Even though we don't really know anything about him other than these little things that come out, it still feels kind of hey, this guy seems like one of us almost, right? Just with $300 billion, So I don't know. I don't know what if I personally have a big problem with this one guy owning it. Again, I just bring up again, I never know who owned it before that. I never know where the buck stopped. I never knew who was responsible for making certain choices. When I'm on Twitter and somebody's trolling and hating on me and saying really, you guys don't know. People say really terrible things to people on Twitter, man, terrible things. You get they attack you personally. They talk about your family. They there's people out there who are just they're in the chat sometimes too. There's people that just have their life is so worthless. Their parents didn't give them attention, and the only kind of attention they want to put out is negativity. It's because a piece of them is lost. So I always feel sorry for them. I never get necessarily mad. What I get mad about is when somebody says something about what I believe in. If they misinterpret what I'm saying, I get mad about that because I feel hey, you're being whatever. But when people say trolling mean things, that kind of shit never bugs me. Call me fat, say whatever. It never bugs me because you don't know me. So it's how can that hurt anyone? If someone doesn't know you, even whatever they say, what does it matter? You know what I mean? So anyways, my point is that kind of stuff happens on Twitter on a daily basis to people, celebrities, it's crazy, right? So I never know who was in charge of that before. Who can I go to? I've reported people many times, and I get these emails back from Twitter like, hey, sorry. Like, I'm actually going to read an email that I got from Twitter because somebody said some super horrible stuff to me. And I was like, oh, man, like, we can't, this can't, they really going to let this go? Right? And then I got this thing from Twitter support, and it said, we are writing to let you know after reviewing the available information, we didn't find a violation of our rules in the content you reported. Wow. And so I was like, damn. So even if I go to like the rules, what are the Twitter rules? So the Twitter rules are violence. You may not threaten violence against an individual or group of people. Okay. That seems pretty self-explanatory. You may not threaten or promote terrorism. All right. Child exploitation, obviously. Abuse or harassment, though. You may not engage in targeted harassment of someone. What? You may not engage in targeted harassment of someone. If I read you this tweet that this person sent me, and I'm not going to because I'm not going to give the dude any kind of love, I'm like, damn. So if they're saying they reviewed it and they went, what he said was cool, that makes me feel like who's in charge over there? So that's my point anyway. So I just don't know what this means. I don't know what any of it means. So now we at least know here's the guy. He's in charge. So, it's Twitter ain't government run. This is not like the government's running Twitter. It's not the post office where we could go in there and be like, yo, you can't do this and that. And then how then it becomes like very woke, and then like a very small minority of people get to make huge changes to like everything. A very, very small segment of society has changed public bathrooms. Not that any of us cared anyway. Honestly, like normal people, I never cared about the bathroom. Let me just speak for me. I'm someone that never cared about who came in and out of the bathroom. I never worried about it. To me, it was only like very weird, sensitive Christian men were the only ones that were worried about this. And then they carried that off to their Christian women in their family and made them like, this is like those kind of weird Christian shit. That's the only people that cared. How many times have you been in a bathroom, y'all? How many times have you been in a bathroom, dudes? This is just for the dudes. You in a bathroom, you at a club or a bar, you're at some place that's super crowded, and you're in the bathroom, you're peeing, and a woman storms in the bathroom, right? And she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I have to pee, and she just goes to the stall. We don't care. How many dudes like, hey, you get out of here. This is a male gender bathroom only. We look, nobody cares, and we just look back, we finish our pee, and we get out of there. Nobody cares. So they made this sort of a big deal and made a fight for this very small segment of society that was like, now all the places are like gender neutral bathroom, all gender bathroom, or they just have one bathroom and they lock it, or they have like, that's what they do now. And it's like, oh, it wasn't a big deal because there's nothing to fight about anymore. So now nobody cares. So, that's what I'm saying about like what's going on Twitter. It's like there's all this fighting and discourse and stuff going on. And if he's saying, well, that's for, free speech. And I go, okay, great. People can have discourse. People can disagree. And apparently people can say terrible things about you and your family. Right? People can harass you on Twitter and no one cares. Okay. So in this same place, you can get information from the president. What's your favorite movie? When's your favorite comedian going to be in a certain town? So here's a place where all of this information, and you have to decipher on your own what's important or not important. And so it's a public, it's a private company now, but it was never government run where we could go in and like make changes. It was always something that's your choice. You don't like Twitter, delete it. You don't ever have to look at it. You know what I mean? You don't ever have to look at it. So who cares, right? So one of the things I heard him say that I hope he does is he wants to verify that each person has to verify that they're a real person for their account. To me, I think everybody should have to have their name on their account. Your username don't got to be your name, but when I click your name and your profile, it should say first, last name. This is who that person is. Because there's too many cowards on here running their mouth, and then they're just keyboard warriors. You never know who they are. You know exactly who I am. You can even find me because you can look at my schedule and be like, I'm going to go talk to this guy because he's going to be at Cleveland the 28th through the 30th in Hilarities. And you could be like, hey, I'm that guy that tweeted this. I can't find you. I can't find you. You out here just behind a stupid username. Booby77, you know? That's you. I'm out here. I'm Erik Griffin. Boom. So I hope that I wish they would do that, but you know, it is what it is. There's a lot of bots and scams and all this stuff. I mean, he's talking about weeding that out. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen with that. So the guy bought Twitter. You know what I mean? All right. So here's the question that I had. I tweeted this and maybe this is something we can discuss, you know, if you're in, you know, you're on the thing. If you guys are hearing that like little noise, something's supposed to come on the screen. Actually, something's supposed to come on the screen to show like who's making like super chats or follows. It's supposed to come on the screen, but it's not coming on the screen. So let me just get rid of that because it's like all it's doing is making noises and not showing anything. So anyway, and thanks again for listening, watching, and being here live and rewatching and all that kind of stuff. So here's something I tweeted. I don't know. And this is an honest question. Why don't he just make his own app? I mean, $44 billion? You can't make your own app for like, how much does it cost? So some people have already pushed back and said to me like, well, he's buying the user base. He's buying that it's already something that's established. But still, to me, I just feel like he's so popular and famous. He's got millions of followers on Twitter and other social media platforms. How much does it cost to make an app? So even if he put $500 million in a really great app, and then he spent $1 million on Super Bowl ads, $2 million on Super Bowl ads, $5 million an ad. He got like he paid for all the famous people in the world to like, you know, 5 or 6 people to do and then he was like, join, you know, Elon book, Musk book, join Musk book. And then he like bought ads all over the country. How much would that cost? How much would it cost to buy all the major billboards in all the major cities? How much would it cost to buy local ad space on television programs and do like a blitz for like a year to get people to join Musk book? You don't think, I mean, TikTok did it. Like, wasn't TikTok nothing? And isn't that some foreign company that we don't even know who owns that? And everybody's on that and everybody's using that. Why couldn't he do that? Why did he have to spend $44 billion? I just feel like, seems like a waste of money to me. Like, what else could he have done with his money? You know, I think he could, like, I'm just saying, if he feels like free speech is the most important thing, I mean, I feel like there's so many other things that, you know, he could do in our country with $44 billion. And I don't want to seem like some bleeding heart liberal type guy, but no matter whatever your cause is what I'm saying. Was this a great use of money? Spent of money is all I'm saying. Seems like a overpayment to me. I don't know. Justify it for me in the comments and chat. Like, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I mean, I feel like, let's say you're someone if you're like a billionaire like that and you're into the arts, I mean, think of all the things you could do with $44 billion. You know, I mean, you could like he could have like a contest amongst high schools, and the top 1,000 high schools get like $1 million endowment that goes into an investment account. And then for 3 years, they get to spend the interest on that money for their arts program. That's just one idea I'm saying. So it's not even like he's giving his money away. You know, he's putting $1 million into some sort of like mutual bond investment account or whatever, how that works. And for 3 years, you know, they're earning the interest. And these kind of accounts sometimes get 6 to 20%. You know, what could that money do for a local school's arts program? If you're into that, you know, okay, you're into free speech. Maybe like Oprah. I think Oprah started at her own network for like $300 million. That's, and now it's finally, he got enough money. Okay, well, start your own news. I don't know. I'm saying there's so many different things. If you care about the homeless, what could you do with that money to help the homeless if that's your thing? If you care about, I don't know. I just feel like he said free speech is it's super important to him, and it's not about the money, but I don't believe it's not about the money. I think he's going to find a way to make his money back. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I feel like this guy, he's going to find a way. He's going to find a way to make his money back, right? I think we all agree with that. Wow, I'm still getting these noises. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but whatever. I'll figure it out later. So, just whatever your agenda is, if you think, like, what could he have done with this money? Because I know there's of course there's a lot of bleeding hearts out there. There's somebody that thinks like, because here's another thought, and I'm just giving you thoughts, So if you're a billionaire like that, you have hundreds of billions of dollars, and you're saying you don't care about money, if you're saying like you care about helping, then it's like, then why is your car $100,000 to buy? So I'm saying, like, if you don't care about money and you care about the importance of, say, putting electric cars in people's hands because you see the value for the environment and whatever the point of it is, why is your car $100,000? Like, then why isn't there why isn't your car $30,000? And then you're not making $300 billion, but maybe you're making $75 billion. And then more people get your product. So it's like, when I hear somebody talk about they don't care about money, if you've accumulated $300 billion, you care about money. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not even about him spending his money on people, but he could just make less by offering his product for less. He could give away the electricity, all the superchargers, and he could put them all over the place and be like, yeah, I'm fronting the bill with the money I make. You could charge for free all over the country, and not just people you don't even have to just own a Tesla. I have a Jaguar. I have a, electric Jaguar. Hey, you could come charge here too. Like, why not do that? This is just thoughts, man. I'm just saying, don't tell me you don't care about money, because you care about money. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I see there's someone in here. Erik is a liberal, but tries to hide it. I ain't trying to hide shit. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle on the liberal side, but I'm at the border. That's where I'm at. I'm totally at the border. I'm more liberal in a lot of ways, but I'm at the border, and I'm not trying to hide shit. My opinion is right here. You don't have to you think that's an insult. Like, this idiot thinks it's an insult to say to me, Erik is a liberal. Yeah. There's a lot of liberal policies I like, especially social things, but I'm way more conservative when it comes to like financial things and like the choices that we should make. I think the hard choices should come from the more conservative side. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, So if you think that's an insult, hey, 2 middle fingers to you. Go someplace else where you can go hear somebody like, go watch Fox News. Why are you here? Anyways, see, that's the kind of stuff that is something that makes me mad. Talk about how fat I am and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. Saying dumb shit like that, that's what makes me upset. Anyways, I don't know what your cause is, whatever it is. But like I say, I think that even if free speech is your the thing, your white whale, isn't there other things you could do with your $44 billion to really ensure more free speech? I would love him to start a network that is like, and he grabs people from Fox that he likes. He grabs people from CNN. He overpays them to come, and they're sitting there talking together and having a good discourse about news, as opposed to like when you watch either one of these news programs, you totally feel the agenda. I would love an agenda-free news outlet. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's so many ways to, like, push out free speech other than spending $44 billion on Twitter. So that's my question. I'm going to end this poll and start a new poll. Was this the, wait, fuck, I can't type. Was this the best use of 44 billion or whatever it was? How about this? Of his billions. You know? What do you guys think? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just don't know. I mean, a lot of people were fighting with me on this Twitter, and I don't know why you fight. It's an honest question. This is just like, I'm just asking an honest question. Like, is this the best use of 54 billion, well, however many billions it is? If your agenda is free speech, is Twitter the place that we want to fight for free speech? Is that the best place? So I don't know. Even like I say, even if you have a super liberal agenda, that you think, hey, this is what we could do with the money, or even if you have some right-wing agenda, and what would that even be? You know, I think the two agendas actually come to the same place, but they just come at it at a different way. You know, so it's like, to me, it's like if you invest in schools and in education, then people are there's less people who are poor, and then now we have more money to use on the roads and whatever else, the infrastructure of the country and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if we educate people, then they have their own worth to go into the workforce and do all that kind of stuff. So I mean, you could come at it from two different ways. I mean, it just ends up in the same place. I don't know, man. You think I got the answer? I'm just a freaking comedian. I'm just talking. We're just having a discourse. We're talking right now. Or I'm talking and you're listening. But, you know, you guys are in the chat. You're in the comments. And we're just trying to figure out what the hell is going on, right? So, I don't know. We'll probably keep talking about this and we'll see what happens with it. But it is very fascinating. In closing about this issue, it's fascinating to me how people are so upset about the people that are upset, like the liberal people who are like, why weren't they upset about who owned the shit in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, it don't make any sense to me. At least now the buck stops with him, and we can now see some transparency and some accountability for this guy, because and I think that he's up for the challenge. So I think it's, in closing, I feel like it's a good thing. I don't think it's good or bad, actually. I just think it's like, whatever. A rich guy bought something for a lot of money, and he has a plan to do it, and we'll see if it works out. You know what I mean? If not, then we just stop using Twitter, and then whoever comes out with the next thing will use that. Maybe he'll get it and just, what if he got it just to get rid of it? That would be great. Like, he buys it and he goes, I never liked Twitter. And he has, like, he shows a button and he goes, delete. And then Twitter just disappears. That would be dope. I would be like, golf clap to you, man. Anyways. All right. So that's that. That is that. All right. So let's go to, where are we now? Let's go to our, NBA playoff talk. NBA playoffs, y'all. NBA playoffs. So it's NBA time. All right, so I'm just going to talk about this one series right now. And that was, the Nets and the Celtics. Now, if you watch my podcast regularly, I've been talking about this. I have been talking about this for a while. I even had a whole thing where I showed you some numbers. How Kevin Durant, when it truly matters, he's had some tough games. Against LeBron James, Oklahoma City versus Miami, there was 2 games where he had really bad games. It cost them the series. against Golden State when they were up 3-1. They lost that series. And there were 2 games, one in particular, where he didn't show up. Now this year, the first 2 games of a very important series, my man don't show up. Charles Barkley had a whole thing about being a bus driver and being a passenger. I don't know if it's so harsh like that, but I do think Kevin Durant don't got that thing. It's just, he's a great talent. I mean, phenomenal talent. But in terms of team success, he might need other people. Now check this out. I'm a Golden State hater. And I said this last week. Golden State hater. Not into Golden State. Because I'm a Clippers fan, and they always ruined us. They ruined our chances. I hate them. But they deserve more credit. Golden State deserves more credit for those 2 championships. Klay, Steph, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr deserve way more credit than we gave them for those 2 championships. And they're proving it this year. If Golden State wins the championship this year, that's a real huge indictment on. It's gonna hit Kevin Durant just as hard as this sweep, because it's going to show that they actually knew how to use his talent. So he was a great talent, and it showcased his talent, and his talent shined in that system, and it made him look so good. But they got a G League player looking real good right now. They got a G League player looking like an all-star, like a first-team NBA type. Well, maybe not that. But they got him looking real good. What's his name? What's homeboy from the Golden State War? You know how I always never know anybody's name. What's the dude? Poole. Jordan Poole. They got Jordan Poole looking like, man, this dude's great. He could start someplace else. He might not be able to. It could just be that Golden State does that to players. Players who, you have to have talent, you have to have skill, and if you have a whole lot of skill, you really gonna shine. I just feel like Golden State needs more credit for those championships, and they gonna prove it this year. Because if you're looking in the West, I don't see anybody beating Golden State in the West. And so if they get to the championship, like I say, man, they get to the championship and win, that's going to be like, yeah, we did this. We didn't need anybody. And this will be the one, the most solid one. So, like I've been saying about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I just think Kyrie Irving, he's a great talent too, but like, he wasn't playing. And then not getting vaccinated, whatever, do you. So then he was coming back, and to me, rest is a performance-enhancing drug. He was resting, so he was getting 60 points and then not playing for 6 days. Oh, 50 points, don't play for 6 days. So then it looked like, oh, man, this dude is good. If he was here then as soon as he started coming every day and having to play all the time, it didn't work out like that. So that really affected the team and the chemistry, and they're just, you know, they're phenomenal talents, but they're not great teammates, it seems. Neither one of these guys. So then, this is the real indictment, too. They on a podcast talking about, well, we don't even really need a coach. Hey, bro, if Michael Jordan couldn't win without a great coach, who the fuck do you think you are? Huh? For real. Neither one of y'all are as good as Michael Jordan. Neither one of y'all is good as Kobe Bryant, and he needed a coach. Man, when the Lakers first got Kobe and Shaq and they were doing good, and they had Dale Harris as their coach, which team would you want, guys? Which starting five would you want? Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Rick Fox, Eldon Campbell, young Shaquille O'Neal, with Kobe Bryant coming off the bench, balling. So do you have those 6 guys? That team? Or the team that won the championship? What's his name? AC Green, old ass AC Green, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe, What was the point guard, the backup point guard for Nick Van Exel, and Glenn Rice, old ass Glenn Rice. Like, which team on paper do you think is better? I tell you the one with the better coach. Like, duh. Like, everybody needs to be coached. Steve Nash made no adjustments. He made no effort let's move Kevin Durant around. Let's use screens. Let's pass more. He got outcoached and they got outplayed by a better team who also get paid to play basketball. The arrogance of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant to think they don't need a coach. And so they push that energy on the team. Kevin Durant, like, when the Bulls were at their height at the third quarter, no matter what, Phil Jackson would take Michael Jordan out. He'd be like, you got to come out, because he needed to rest him. You need 2 or 3 minutes. Let's get some rest so you can get back in here and finish it out strong. Kevin Durant was freaking tired, man. He was playing so many minutes. He's still coming off injury. That whole situation is terrible. That whole situation is terrible, and it's probably going to blow up again. He already ran from Golden State, from OKC. I didn't like dealing with this, so let me go to this other team. Let me get my championships. Ooh, I don't like dealing with them, so now let me go to the Nets. Guess what? Not going to be surprised if Kevin Durant is with another team next year. Not going to be surprised. And Kyrie Irving, who's only got 1 year left on his contract, does he even really want to play basketball? It's always something with him. You look at how many times he hasn't even played a full season in like 8 years. But this goes back to when he was at Duke. He got hurt at Duke. He's either hurt or he's not playing for whatever reason. So, I don't know. All you fans out there, or for all you KD fans, and you're like, oh, he's great, man. I'm sorry. You don't get swept like that. You don't get swept. Sorry. And especially when you are the reason, too. Your lack of production is the reason why your team gets swept. And I wasn't surprised in a game that doesn't matter. He had 39 points. Not surprised, because it didn't matter. Even last year in the playoffs when he had that phenomenal 45 points, 17 rebounds, whatever game, it wasn't an elimination game, so it didn't matter. When it matters, this dude sometimes shows up small. And I hope that he could turn that around with either on this team next year or wherever he ends up. But from the looks of this right now, that was a complete and utter failure. Okay? The Nets experiment, their big three. And don't even get me started on Ben Simmons. Like, whatever's going on with this guy, I don't care. Look, you got mental health issues. You still have to be held accountable for your profession. Okay? Like, if I have mental health issues and it affects my stand-up comedy, or it affects, like, if I'm on a set, then I gotta go. I can't be on that set. I can't be on set messing up the environment, and I can't say, well, guys, I have mental health issues. So that's on them to be like, okay, well, we're sensitive to this, but then we're going to get someone else. Maybe this isn't for you. That's fair. I think that's fair. So the guy with his, we had to like deal with that. And so then he still hasn't played. Now he's got back issues and he's dressed up on the sideline. Like, I don't know about that dude, man. But from the scouting report, from my research I've done in terms of like, Googling this and hearing like other sports programs. I listen to a lot of sports programs talk about it. Apparently on his scouting report, this was a part of his thing, that they questioned his work ethic. They questioned his desire to play. And I think that's proven itself right now. I don't know who won that trade, but as of right now, the Sixers have won that trade, but we'll see how far they go. But yeah, this is just some bizarre NBA season. And you know what? Shout out to LeBron James, because I miss LeBron. The playoffs not the same without someone like that, and there's no one like that left. Steph Curry, he's a that kind of like. So hopefully he makes it in. Hopefully Joel Embiid stays in long enough. Giannis, it's hard to like. He don't got that thing. You know, he don't got that thing where you're like, oh, I love that guy. You know, you respect his game and how he works hard, but it's not like that like Shaquille O'Neal in the press. I love this guy. And guys, thank you for all the super chats, man. I appreciate you guys, dude. Appreciate you, Coffee and Jag Deep. Appreciate the super chats and all the other folks that are put in the super chats. I don't know why it's not showing up. It's not showing up on my thing, but I appreciate that. So we'll see, man. We will see what happens with the rest of the way, but so far it's pretty exciting. So we'll see. But I'm predicting. Let me do my prediction right now. Is I think it's gonna be, man. I don't even know in the East. The East is so tough. Like I think Boston is great. Boston have proven themselves to be a great team, but because of all the nonsense going on with the Nets, we need to see what they do in the next round. But if Boston can get by Milwaukee, they're going to win the championship. I think if Boston gets by Milwaukee, they go into the finals and they're going to win it because they're ready. They've already been to the Eastern Finals twice, lost to LeBron. So, you know what I mean? Like they're ready. But if Milwaukee should beat them, man, that is between Sixers, Milwaukee, or the Heat. And if I had to pick between those three, if Chris Milton isn't coming back from the Milwaukee, I would go with the Sixers. I think Joel Embiid is having that kind of year. So, hello, M. Celts. Read this, idiot. But thanks for your $1.99. But if Chris Middleton doesn't come back from the Bucks, I don't think the Bucks have enough to win a 7-game series. So we'll see. So, yeah, guys, that is the NBA talk. NBA talk, baby. NBA talk. All right, guys, now I want to talk about this show that a bunch of people have told me to watch, and I finally watched it. It's Winning Time on HBO Max. Winning Time. Let's go to this here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So Winning Time, it stars John C. Reilly, Quincy, what is this guy's name? Quincy Isaiah and Jason Clarke, and a bunch of other people that, like, you know, if you see them, you would know them, you know? If you see them, you'd know them, right? Yeah, just a bunch of people that are like, whatever. But let me, okay, so Winning Time is about, like, the rise of the Lakers dynasty in the late 70s. I am not a huge fan of this show. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the show, and I'm gonna tell you why. Oh, and by the way, the poll ended for the Twitter poll, and it says, people, you guys think it was a good choice. All right, so that's great. So, not a huge fan of Winning Time, man, and for a bunch of reasons. First thing is, I don't like just how it looks. So they got this sort of like 70s filter on the show as if we filmed this in the 70s. And I'm like, that shit is just distracting. It's distracting, and it's like it's another character in the show, and I don't like the character. There's always some nonsense on the screen as if, like, you know, the technology's bad and we couldn't get a good picture. So they always got these like little marks on the screen and weird effects. Thumbs down. Don't like it. And it's just it's not distracting. It's just distracting, actually. And it's distracting from some mediocre performances, if I'm being 100, or even misguided performances, I should say, too. Because I think John C. Reilly is doing a great job. I just don't like the job that he's doing. You know, I don't like that character. I don't like any of these characters. None of them. None of them. Not one of these characters I like. Because it doesn't feel real to me. When you do a documentary, like a sort of like fake-umentary about, loosely based off, but we have a general idea of who the people are from seeing them for 20 years, it's hard to accept it or wrap my brain around it. I just, and you can disagree. I see somebody said, I disagree. The show is dope. So some people really like the show. Now, I liked the first few episodes, and then it got really boring. Like, I find myself falling asleep sometimes. But anyways, that's another here to there. If you like it, great. You like the show, I'm just giving you my opinion, and I'm telling you why. So, for instance, the guy that's playing Magic Johnson, he looks like Magic, right? It's crazy how much he looks like young Magic Johnson. But I don't believe he's doing a good Magic Johnson. I just don't believe, we know enough about Magic Johnson's mannerisms and how he is. This guy don't remind me of Magic Johnson at all. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who wrote a great article about this, he says they've made Magic into a sex-starved simpleton. And that is not what Magic is, man. Magic, he obviously had a lot of sex, okay? You know what I mean? And we know why. The result. But he was still seemed to be a very savvy person and turned into a great businessman. And maybe he wasn't like that in the beginning, but the way they're portraying him, it doesn't come across like a guy like this is going to turn into this mogul that he became. But the season's still going on. I'm all caught up, and we'll see what happens. And I'm going to tell you why I say that, because so there's this big thing about the Jerry West character. So the first 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, damn, was Jerry West like this? They got him like, the dude playing Jerry West got Jerry looking like a a-hole. Like, he is just, and then when you read about this, and I didn't know this, but Jerry West dealt with depression, and he dealt with mental health issues back in the day at a time when no one even called it mental health issues and no one cared. So they're trying to portray that. They're dramatizing it. I think they're going a little overboard in terms of that kind of stuff. But they have that part of it. And they're portraying him as like a mean-spirited guy. And then they're trying to disguise that as like, well, he does have issues and he's dealing with those issues and whatever. And they're trying to play this line. And I just don't think they're doing a very good job of that in the early episodes. Because you want to see this person who orchestrated this lineup and who became this, savant when it came to drafting. And so I wanted to see more of that. So later episodes like 6, 7, 8, I'm starting to get a sense of that. I'm starting to get a sense that Jerry West became this guy who's behind the scenes and knows what it takes to make the team great. So they're starting to show that. I wish they would have showed that earlier. So I think that what they established about the character, it's not very flattering to Jerry West, who is actually out here. He wants to sue them. He wants a retraction. He's like really upset about his portrayal. Now, I'm still waiting to see a bunch of, people who knew Jerry, who played with him, to come out and say, oh, Jerry wasn't an asshole. I'm not seeing that, but maybe there is. If you see that, tweet at me. Or tweet at me with the article, tweet at me with the tweet so we could see, so I can come on here next week and be like, oh man, 10 people who knew Jerry said this is all lies. Maybe he was an asshole, but you know what? I don't care, because that has nothing to do with production. Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player ever, he turns out probably he wasn't a very good husband. And he actually wasn't a nice person when it comes to, like, when you watch his own documentary, you see how he was getting it. He was an asshole, all right? And that's okay. So, like, if Jerry West actually was an asshole, I don't care. It don't change the outcome. And we don't really care about it either. Only now in society we're starting to, like, question people's character, because people are putting tweets out. People are like screenshotting DMs, and people are like clout chasing to ruin someone's life, to assassinate their character. It's becoming important now because of social media. But like overall though, I don't think we really care. We would like people to be nice, but it has nothing to do with results. So anyway, that being said, so maybe these last few episodes, we're going to start to see this character form into something that is, more of like what we kind of have the perception of Jerry West. But I just think it's corny. I think that the performances are all like 1 or 2 notes, and I don't like it. I think Kareem was right. Like, Kareem's character comes off as this sort of like asshole, stoic, all he cares about is, the stuff that's going on in the black community and racism and stuff. And I don't know if that was necessarily true. I think he was more than just that. I remember seeing footage of Kareem on the court, being excited about playing basketball. And they're portraying him as this kind of like, I'm just doing this for the money and I'm a yoga guy and I don't care about nothing but this. And so I don't like that character. I don't like how it's being portrayed. I don't like Jerry West. I don't even like the girl being Jeannie Buss. She's one of my favorites. And I don't like what they're doing with, John C. Reilly as Dr. Buss. He's just coming across as this sort of like egomaniacal, narcissistic, sort of like sex freak guy that, he just, I think there could be more depth and more to these characters. And I think, like I said, the way they're shooting it with that dumb 70s filter, I just think that it's coming across like we're watching some 1970s corny ass White Shadow type show that you're just kind of like, I don't know if I'm learning anything from this. I don't know if I'm being moved. I'm not being moved by this series at all. And then they got Larry Bird. The guy playing Larry Bird is like, damn, what a mean asshole he is. Right? Like there's no depth to him either. But who knows? Maybe Larry was like that, I just don't like it. I don't find it at all. It's not super entertaining. I'm still watching it. And I'm still going to watch it, but overall it's only going to get one woo, maybe two. Woo woo. So yeah, I don't know, man. So if you guys, whatever you guys think about the show, I'd love to see in the comments what you like about it. If you like it, tell me what you like about it. If you don't like it, what are your reasons that you don't like it? I'd love to hear that. But overall, like I say, I'm still going to watch it. I'm not saying the show is like just like completely terrible, but I have some issues with it. And I told you them. I have some strong issues with it, but it is what it is. So there we go, guys. That's another episode of Riffin with Griffin, live in full effect. I got changes coming to the podcast in terms of like little things. I want to have more transitions and I want to, do more fun stuff on screen, and I want to put out more like clips and content, and I need help with that. So that's why there's going to be a solid main producer person that's going to help me take the podcast to another level. I appreciate all you guys for being here every week, all your comments, your super chats, Patreons, YouTube members, everybody that follows me on Twitch. You guys are a loyal fan base, and I appreciate your subscriptions, which is just like being a YouTube member. So if you want to subscribe over at Twitch, do that too, man. I appreciate that too. And once again, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here every single week. It is, it's a pleasure to do the podcast. I really do have a great time doing the podcast, and it is just, I want to keep doing it for as long as I can. So the only thing I do is just keep making it bigger and better, and I appreciate you. Oh, Frank with $19.99. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Cal's with $1.99.